Every so often, a young phenom arrives in the world of racing and quickly solidifies themselves as a star. Brandon Proudfoot has done just that in the street stocks. On the verge of back-to-back championships, this Pennsylvania native merely needs a decent finish tonight to wrap things up. We'll see if he's able to do so as we get ready to watch round 10 of the Bootleg Racing League's Dirt Street Stock Series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. We often talk about certain circuits being a grassroots training ground, but in the case of Limiland, its connections with the University of Northern Ohio makes it quite literally that. Let's head to our track guide to learn more.
Welcome to Limiland. This unique 3/10 of a mile oval nestled in Aleta, Ohio provides a unique challenge to the competitors. Limiland has two very short straights coupled together with two very tight corners, making momentum king. With it being dirt, astute drivers will notice the cushion change and move and are able to adapt themselves to the constantly changing conditions. 16 degrees of banking in the corners gives way to 8 degrees on the straights. The corners themselves do not lend to being against the tire barriers at the very bottom of the track at all, as that is where the track really flattens out. Speed is made up against the wall, as well as a little fling in dirt while you're at it, with the banking lending drivers plenty of attack chances. The track is owned and operated by the University of Northern Ohio, UNOH for short, and hosts Friday night racing throughout the racing season. This offers the university students a unique opportunity to compete on a professional level while attending school. Limiland is special on the surface because it was one of the first dirt tracks that iRacing scanned to start the dirt model. On top of the local heroes battling it out every Friday night, the track in real life plays host to the UMP Modifieds, who put on a thrilling show every time they descend upon the track. All in all, Limiland provides amazing racing, and it's an absolute driver and fan favorite. Dirt racing popularity is on the rise in the nation, and it's on the rise in iRacing. This is our guide to Limiland. Enjoy the show.
Well, DJ, this was among the first tracks introduced in the sim when dirt racing came to iRacing, but in case we have viewers who have not heard of this place, why don't you run us down?
Well, Joe, as you mentioned, Limiland is part of that University of Northern Ohio complex, and as a result, it is a big training ground, but that does not diminish the fact that it is very, very tricky to get around here. Running the low line can be pretty quick, but because of just how steep the progressive 16-degree banking is, you can also carry some good speed around the middle or top lines. So don't be surprised if you see guys running a couple wide here over the course of the night. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, the danger about running that low line is there are those big tractor tires down there that can really catch out the car. Now, these street stocks can go over them and take the damage, but it'll slow you down a whole bunch because you will lose contact as the car will get a little bit airborne.
Well, something to watch out for, as well as our own tongues tripping over them. But let's take a look at the championship while we've got the chance. And you can see with 2 rounds to go, Hargraves 89 points behind. There's 84 max for a win. Hargraves has to beat Proudfoot today, and considering he hasn't shown up yet in the warm-up, I'm not sure if we're going to be seeing him. Looks like this might be the clincher as soon as we get through qualifying. J.R. Shepard has a good chance to jump Hargraves today, since if he doesn't show. And then you've got quite a ways back down to Billy Northcutt, who finally got a win a couple races ago, and John Wilson, who rounds out our top 5. What about our race details, DJ?
Well, Joe, as we mentioned, we are here at Limiland in the 10th of 11 rounds in this BRL Dirt Street Stocks Championship. We are running the traditional Dirt Street Stocks on the iRacing service, and we're running a heat race format tonight. So drivers are currently on track for a 20-minute practice session. That will then turn over to a 5-minute, 4-lap solo qualifying session. So drivers will be out all by their lonesome on track. From there, we will go into a series of heat races. Now, in those heats, the top 3 drivers will automatically advance to the A main. All other drivers will be relegated to the B main. Now, based on the number we have here tonight, nobody's going to have to go home, and that B main, which will be 10 laps long, will just be to determine the order for the back half of the field. Once we get to that feature race, well, that's going to be a 40-lap race, and that is the only time tonight that you're going to see the caution flag fly. It is a fixed setup out here, so everybody running the same thing, and it's all down to driver's skill. Drivers do get one fast repair that they are able to use, and the other crucial thing to keep in mind is that this track condition will not reset, so it will wear in and evolve over the course of the night.
Well, for those who are hoping Brandon Proudfoot might be challenged, it's not looking likely, as he's even topping the times already in the warm-up session, which we've seen recently. Qualifying's not been his strong suit. We'll see if he can back that up. If anything, I was looking at the stats, and DJ, surprisingly, this was not as dominant of a season as his championship season. I believe he took 9 out of 11 last time, and he's only gotten 6 so far.
Yeah, Joe, last season he was absolutely untouchable. This season, whether it be from Billy Northcutt or Hargraves or even J.R. Shepard throwing a little bit of heat at him, he has been under a lot of pressure, and Proudfoot has withstood all of it, which is really just a testament to the absolute skill of that driver of the number 22.
It looks like, apologies for that. We're having a few technical issues with our onboard. But we'll try and get that up and rolling, because we should hopefully have a special surprise with that if we can get that working. In the meantime, other drivers out there rolling, including Wilson and Shepard. Shepard's one of those that's looked like he could potentially beat him. But tonight he is only as far as 5th in that number 98 in the warm-up. Maybe he's got more speed in the race itself, which has certainly looked good. And there it is. Incredible stuff. We have the onboard helmet cam of Brandon Proudfoot's view. Now, this is very cool. We get to see everything that he sees. So when he comes into the corner and looks over his shoulder, when he looks into his mirror, we can see exactly where he's looking.
Yeah, this is going to be really fascinating to keep an eye on, Joe. I think especially during some starts and restarts, checking to see his outside or inside where he's going to be. You can see him very impressive there. He's not looking to the outside at all. He knows exactly where that right rear tire is, and instead he is just sighting the corner and putting the car where he is seeing, visualizing it ahead of him. That's exactly how you get to be a fast driver.
So through the corners, just shows us how smooth he is. That head is, like you said, not really making a whole lot of motion, just kind of looking where he wants the car to go and points it, and he is on it. Otherwise, a pretty typical fare here today with the likes of Seneca, Robinson, Segala out there joining us. See Todd Liston finally has got a lap in. He's the last one in warm-up to put one on the board. But we've come to a track half the size of last week, so probably not as high of speeds as we saw out at Volusia, DJ, and I wonder if that's going to play a part in drivers being a little more cramped.
I certainly think it can be, and I think what is very scary for a lot of these drivers is this, like a lot of other tracks, is a very rhythm-based track. You want to feel it out, get into the groove of coming around the corners. You don't really have a whole lot of time to stop and breathe, so it's constant motion. And for especially somebody like Brandon Proudfoot, who has fully admitted that he is a more rhythmic driver. He likes to get into that groove. Him coming out and practicing this early, it's going to be very, very tricky. But the car on screen right now, that's J.R. Shepard looking for that first win here. He definitely trying the high line. He's going to be one to watch out for. He may have a little bit of speed held up in that 98.
Yeah, still sitting down in 5th, but we're seeing the track get worn in pretty significantly already. Don't see, actually, yeah, I do see a little bit of a slicked up line on the entry to 3 as it's darkening up on the way into the corner. But you're right, the 98 certainly here in practice is riding right up against the wall already, maybe hoping to really carry that momentum, hopefully up into his first win finally. Proudfoot hoping to deny him of that. Spees is his closest rival, but Steven hasn't been out on track for quite some time here in the warm-up. He's gotten within half a tenth of the 22. And we'll see what his qualifying is like in the meantime. But 30 seconds left here in the warm-up as the sun sets here in my home state, beautiful Ohio. Can't wait to go racing here on a lovely Friday night.
It's going to be fantastic, Joe, and I think it's especially fantastic to see Steven Spies back in this championship. Took a little bit time off. He was a regular last season, and I think he may be one to watch out for tonight. If you remember, to our more eagle-eared viewers, Steven always talked about how he doesn't really like running the tracks that are so high-line dominant, and that is the only way to go around. With a place like Limiland, there are some multiple lines, so look for him to be a real contender, maybe running a mid to low line as we get going.
We have two late entries. Looks like Justin Morton and Billy Northcutt are in here. Both of them quite fast, just as the checkered flag falls. Now, they would have been able to join all the way up into the final moments of the qualifying, but at least they'll get to take part in the qualifying, which has just switched over. And let's see who's going to be among our first to take to the track. I see John Wilson creeping out of his box and getting the thing going.
Yeah, Wilson's going to be taking it out, and there is a prime example of what not to do, making a little bit of a disagreement there with that lamp pole. So that's not going to be a great way to start it out. This is the 87 out on track right now. We are following him. This is Todd Liston.
So Liston around is going to be the first to set a time, I believe, and then Robbie Robinson will be next after him down into turn 3. This is the first flyer for Todd. As he comes to the line, what's the marker that everybody else has to beat? A 15.455, and Robbie Robinson beats it immediately by 0.2 of a second.
Very impressive run there for Robbie Robinson. Very happy to see him being able to get that time in. Liston trying to go a little bit better here. The Hoosier driver able to improve by about 0.1 of a second there. Here comes Justin Morton, opposite of Steven Spies. He's a guy that loves to run that high line.
Oh, but he's clipped the wall in both of his first 2 laps, and it looked like he may have brushed it right there. That, unfortunately, disqualifies those laps if you touch the wall. We'll see if this one's clean or not. If not, it wasn't. Oh, he's got to get a clean one in, or he's going to be starting way from the back.
Yeah, he does not want to do that at all. Still waiting for some of your other contenders, Spies, Shepard, and Proudfoot, to make their way on track, but we follow Joe Segala here out on track. We're going to follow back with Justin Morton. Let's see if he's able to get a good time in. A 15.3. Is that going to stick for Justin Morton? It is, but it's not that great. It'll only put him in 4th place.
Whew. Saved by the Bell. Just gets one in. We're waiting on Bobby Hayes to set a time. Just saw, Jason Best. Bests everybody else. He puts it on the pole ahead of Northcutt.
Impressive run there for Best. If you remember last week, he had some speed, but was having some consistency issues, so we'll have to see if he'll be able to carry that over into the heats. Here comes Seneca, though, across the line. Seneca's going to be unable to improve. The Michigander is. Everybody else on track. The only 2 drivers we're waiting for are Proudfoot and Shepard.
Now, Northcutt has taken a page from Hargrave's book. He parked it after he put it on pole, waited, and now he's back out with laps left. But Steven Spies goes even quicker on his first lap with a 15.213, and Northcutt now takes a 15.1.
Oh, the big guns are coming out to play. We're following here the 00 to see if he can maybe better his time. Takes a little bit of a low line, very squirrely off the corner. I don't think that's going to cut it for him, and indeed about 0.5 of a second off.
Spies still has 2 laps to try and respond. He comes across for the 3rd one, and it is a 15.158. It's close, but just barely away. We're looking at him now on his last flying lap. Can he go 45 thousandths of a second quicker to overtake the 00 for the pole? He does not.
So if things stand as is, that means that he will be starting off first in our second heat race, but we're going to jump back to J.R. Shepard. He's currently all the way down the order in 8th place, able to improve there ever so slightly, but this is a very, very regular qualifying from Shepard.
Surprised to see Bobby Hayes not quick here today. He's got a 15.446 as his fastest. He's the last of the times that have been set. Shepard that time, a 15.1. That's for 3rd. That is a much better lap for the 98.
It is indeed, but here is the man, the myth, the legend, Brandon Proudfoot, as he goes to the top of the charts.
Immediately, very first lap. It's close, though. He's only ahead of Northcutt by 3,000 hundredths of a second, but I don't think anybody can respond. Yeah, everybody else has set their time, so Proudfoot has these last 3 laps to just practice out here. He's done it.
And that is going to be great for him. We keep coming back to it and banging it like a drum. He is a rhythm driver, so being able to get these laps out, he will start off in the first heat. He will know exactly what the track is feeling like, and I got to think that's only going to help him.
Went another 100th quicker that time by. Can he improve it still? Yes, a 15:018, nearly broke the 15-second mark and puts himself almost a full 10th ahead of Billy Northcutt. I'll have to check my stats. I'm trying to recall, when was the last time we saw Brandon on the pole, because he's kind of missed it for a few races recently.
I think it's been at least 4 rounds, Joe, but it has been a hot minute since we've seen that number 22 at the pointy end of the qualifying order.
Well, again, bad news for everybody else, but 13 drivers have set their qualifying, and now our order is set for the first heat today. Let's go through that as we take a look at them lining up. Brandon Proudfoot on the pole with J.R. Shepard to his outside. John Wilson will start from 3rd.
Todd Liston will be lining up in 4th, followed by Bobby Hayes in the number 13 in 5th.
All right, are already all plopped out there. So we're waiting on the pace truck to lead them around for their 2 pace laps. We'll see what they've got. Bobby Hayes at least starting in the first heat, but again, this is unusual to see him at very last in the group. Maybe his race pace will be a little bit better. He did have bad qualifying last week as well, but I think he chalked it up to making mistakes. And I'm not sure if he did the same as we now take a glance at that helmet cam that we have here for the 22. And yeah, this is a lot of what you were talking about here, DJ, just kind of looking around and kind of checking where everybody else is on these starts.
Yeah, exactly. He wants to make sure he's not going to be too all over J.R. Shepard. Keep an eye on him. Now, Proudfoot is starting on the outside line here. That is his prerogative as the leader, so that is something to keep in mind.
So he already favors this outside line even this early in the evening. And the green flag is out. Oh, a big bobble off the start from J.R. Shepard. The 87 of Todd Liston might be able to get above him. No, the 98 is able to cover it off as the 22 leads away on lap 1.
Very good defensive slider there from J.R. Shepard to prevent that attack from Liston. Proudfoot really starting to stretch his legs here, but in the back, we've got a little bit of a challenge. I do believe that is John Wilson trying to take that place away from Liston.
Oh, he slides up the hill and gets into the side of the 78 or the 87 of Liston. And behind them, getting bottled up, that's Bobby Hayes, who fancied an attack but couldn't go anywhere with his speed. We're on board with Bobby now, and again, it is the top 3 who automatically advance to the feature, so there definitely is an importance to this fight that we're watching.
Yeah, it very much is, and that little squabble's allowing for Hayes to really catch up there. He's going to take a little bit of a middle line in between the two. You see Wilson trying to drift up into Liston. Not happening now. It looks like he can throw that slider if he wants it, and indeed he does. Liston gets very cockeyed coming out of 4.
All that momentum gone for the 87. Now he's trying to ride down low on that shorter line. Doesn't seem to be working for him. He falls to 4th as Wilson now has the last transfer spot in 3rd. He's even going to be fought for that, but we are on the final lap already. Brandon Proudfoot looks untouchable today. Oh, no. And he's upside down as Brandon Proudfoot takes the victory. Shepard is a DNF as Wilson is 2nd, Hayes is 3rd, and Liston just misses out. Shepard gonna have to start from the top spot in the consolation race. I didn't even get to catch it. Unfortunately, we're not gonna be able to get a replay, but what happened here, DJ?
Well, I'm looking back on it right now, Joe. He was having some internet connectivity issues, and it looks like he just went up and rode the wall a little bit coming into turn 1, let the car drift up over the berm over the cushion ever so slightly, got his right tire under the wall, and as we know, when that happens, it is the propensity of these cars to want to climb.
Ugh, that is a horrible start to tonight for J.R. Shepard in his hopes of catching and passing Hargraves. But now we have our next heat, and our starting order this evening is Billy Northcutt on the top spot with Jason Best to his outside.
Brennan Myers is going to be lining up behind them in third, followed by Joe Segala in fourth.
So only 4 in this one and the next one. And only 3 heats this evening that we'll have for our drivers. Billy Northcutt also liking what he saw about that start, DJ. He's electing to take the high side as well.
I think that's the way to go, Joe. As I was watching those cars, that middle lane looks very, very slippery. We saw Shepard have some problems with it. We saw Liston getting very sideways going through there. So I think as the track is right now, you do not want to be anywhere near that. And the best way to prevent that at the start is by starting high.
Into turn 3, waiting patiently. He's given a wide berth to the pace truck. And now Northcutt finally goes as the green flag waves. Good jump for him over the 47 of Best, trying for that third spot. Brennan Myers looking down low. He's trying for second, actually. Oh, and into the wall goes the 81, and he's going to get to the side of Myers.
Oh, and Myers almost able to catch that and hold on to it, but the tail just a little bit too slippery there. Again, you can see there Segala having that problem with the middle line. Watch him as he comes out of the corner, losing a lot of grip. The car just doesn't want to cook up at all.
Well, the top 2 in line, but these 2 making contact into turn 3 is Brennan Myers. Another hit with the 81 for the second time in this heat.
Yeah, they're getting very, very dicey, but we're going to jump back up to the front. Billy Northcutt setting the fast slap of the race, diving down low and doing a slider line across 3 and 4 there, working well for him. He's got that gap to Jason Best, holding pretty steady right now, so they're doing very, very well here. Northcutt very much controlling the pace of this race.
What a wild start to this one. And it was a wild finish to the last one. So will it be the reverse? Will things be a little more calm as they come to the finish? Right now, Northcutt still has the better of Jason Best as they come through 3 and 4 to take the white flag. Jason trying to go that little bit lower to see if it'll give him something on a much shorter distance. Doesn't quite look like it off the turn.
No, car tried to over-rotate on him. He's going to do it again, though, coming out of 4.
He's down below him, but he doesn't have the speed as Northcutt wins heat number 2. Best in second. Segala takes third, and Brennan Myers will round out the field and have to head to the consolation race. Okay, so do we have action in the middle this time since the others were bookended by that?
Well, we'll have to see. The law of averages tells me that that is exactly what's going to happen, Joe, as we get ready for heat number 3.
Which it has Steven Spies starting at the top of it and Robbie Robinson to his outside.
Behind them, it'll be Justin Morton and Ryan Seneker.
Already all 4 of them out there. They're eager to go. There goes the pace truck. And they get 2 pace laps to try to get ready and set. And then they go. After that, we immediately switch over to that consolation race, and we should only have 4 drivers involved in that consolation race to determine their starting position in the feature. So we come around through 1 and 2 the last time, under pacing. Haven't had anybody be able to jump the leader. And Steven Spies is the first one to start from the bottom. Will this shake things up? He waits patiently for it, and now he's on it. Green flag is out, and it's a battle for second as Justin Morton might be able to get ahead of Robbie Robinson. Can he drift up in front of him? No.
No, he can't. Getting very dangerous down on those lines on the tires. I'm flinching as I watch him go by. Little bit of over-rotation coming out of the corner right now, but Morton, I have to say, doing the best we've seen on that low line.
Certainly challenging the 56, but getting the throttle off of there just doesn't seem to be working, as all cars that have been running that line are a little slow. But up at the front, the 55 of Spies continues to lead the way. Robinson has rocked up to his rear bumper. Could he maybe try and snatch the lead away?
He's certainly looking like it, but the car getting a little squirrely out of turn 4 there, so he's not going to have the best run here. All 3 of your top 3 right now running that high line. Justin Morton may have made a little bit of contact with the wall there, but everybody pretty close here. Robinson definitely keeping that pressure up.
Right now, the driver set to head to the consolation race is Seneca. Otherwise, the other 3 are able to advance if they hold these positions. Robinson definitely keeping that pressure on. He's right underneath the rear of the 55. They take the white flag, 1 to go. If Spies makes a mistake, Robbie is there to pounce.
He is indeed, but Steven Spies not known for making mistakes. Robinson going low out of 4.
It's not going to be enough. Steven Spies will take the win here in the 3rd heat. Robinson 2nd, Morton 3rd, and Seneca has to head to the consolation. That is all 3 of our heat events tonight and takes us to the consolation race. The 4 drivers taking part in this one are Todd Liston on the pole with Brennan Myers to his outside.
Behind him, it'll be Ryan Seneca, and then the surprise of the night, J.R. Shepard lining up in 4th.
So J.R. Shepard, we know he's got the speed. Will allow him to try and climb up and take the victory in this consolation race, or has he been shaken by that horrible incident turning his car over in turn 2? I think we just need 1 more driver and then we are ready to go here this evening at Limiland. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, how this place has the involvement with the University of Northern Ohio as a training ground, not just for drivers, but mechanics, engineers, all sorts of people wanting to get involved in the world of racing.
Indeed, it's one of the few places in the world where you have a college that is directly tied to a racetrack, and a lot of the guys that you see in both the super high grade A leagues like NASCAR and things, and IndyCar, as well as working all its ways down to little hometown street stocks like this. A lot of guys come out of University of Northern Ohio, a very, very great program for race car engineering and mechanics.
All right, let's see if Liston can hold back the charging J.R. Shepard in that number 98, or maybe we should have our eyes on Brennan Myers. Ooh, a little bit of bump from behind, as I think the 98 didn't anticipate the 25 slowing down there on the back stretch, so no harm, no foul. Green flag is out. Oh, Liston did not get a good start there on the bottom. The 25 has a great run. Can he take the lead as the 98 clips the outside wall in 1? And into the outside wall, the 25 smacks the backstretch.
Yeah, and Liston got a little bit of there. I got to say, I don't know what Todd Liston is doing down on that low line. He cannot get power down off of the corner. That's really going to allow for Myers and Shepard in turn to start an amount of good pressure. It looks like Shepard's going to be able to get him. Myers already has as they go into 3.
He's got the momentum, and the 87 now has lost the chance to slide up in front of them. He could lose 2nd as well, because here comes J.R. Shepard. He may have looked a little on edge there at the start, but now he's got it underneath, and they get a full 10 laps in this consolation race. So it's not as quick as our heats. He's got more time to try and overtake.
He does indeed, and I think the best way to be doing that here is going to be trying to throw a very, very aggressive slider line, but with Myers setting the fastest lap of the race on that last time out with 15.203, it's going to be harder and harder for Shepard to try to get a little bit of an overlap coming across the line there, though. On that last lap, Shepard was faster by about 0.05 of a second.
Can he utilize that advantage to try and overtake her? Is he going to be stuck here? Bottom line's not been looking so hot, and there's still not much of a slicked up line up top. That thing still has grip, at least from appearances. They're down to 5 to go, soon 4 here as they come to cross the line.
Great camera shot here from Dougie Beard looking out the back of Brendan Myers. You can see just how much he's having to saw on that wheel to keep it right, and just how much pressure J.R. Shepard is applying behind him as they cross over onto the backstretch into 3. It looks like Shepard's trying to put a little bit more pressure, make him think he's going for a slider.
It's running out of laps now, only 3 left to go for the 98, and he's blinking a little bit here and there. Or actually, I think that was Myers blinking that I saw A look underneath. J.R. Shepherd doesn't have it that time. 2 laps to go. Tries to cut down low. Straight line the exit. Does the diamonding work? No. Once again, it's not there.
But he's going to go down low again here into that slick stuff. And oh, it comes back to bite him. Shepherd getting a little squirrely on corner exit as they take the line for 1 to go.
I don't think there's anything in it unless he really throws a Hail Mary in there. Brennan Myers may have started in second, but he's going to come away with a consolation race win here for round 10 of the Bootleg Racing League Dirt Street Stock Series. Shepherd second, Liston third. Poor Seneker finds himself down in last, where he will start the feature. We'll get to that in just a moment, DJ. Some good racing, I will say that, but it looks like passing, or at least completing the pass, is not easy today.
No, it certainly does not, and that happens sometimes when you get to these tight little bull rings, is that it gets more and more difficult to get those passes done. You're going to have to be super, super aggressive, and I think one of the things that may help open up the track a little bit is the more cars that run that high lane, that'll get slicker and slicker, and we'll have to see over the course of the feature event if anybody gets brave enough to take a dive down to the low side, and that suddenly becomes magically quick.
Oh, Justin Morton set an early fastest lap. And then Bobby Hayes managing to do him one better. Now, for those not familiar with dirt racing, and especially here on iRacing, the track constantly evolves. We've been talking about that a little bit. So this warm-up session is for those who have not been on the track since the early heats, so that they can get an idea of what's happening out here. J.R. Shepherd certainly has an idea. Look at that. Quickest in warm-up now.
Yeah, he wants to make up for the sins of that heat race there. He's faster by only about 100th of a second, so a little bit different there for him. Still waiting for Myers, Spies, and Seneker to set a fastest time, though.
Course drivers are not required to come and race. Doesn't really hurt or help you. It's a very short session. You're not going to be terribly tired from it. Northcutt now going a little bit faster. Again, you can't read too much into it, but this does tell us who's quick-ish under these conditions. And we've seen Northcutt get his first win in a while a couple races ago. I'm sure he'd love to bring another one. And I think, do we have, no, Hargraves did take 2 so far this season. So he'd be the, that would make actually all drivers. If Northcutt gets the win, all drivers who have won will have taken multiple wins this season. Now, that would be an interesting stat for this one, with so few drivers having won races here this season. Certainly looks like Proudfoot might be playing a little bit of possum, as he's actually still in 12th, make that 10th now.
Yeah, he may be. It looks like he was experimenting a lot with the lower line. Now, the other thing that I want to keep in mind to our viewers here, Joe, is that this can get a little dusty as we get going along here. Definitely kicking up some dirt as we go along. Drivers may have a little bit of visibility problems if we get all of these 13 drivers out on track running in a bunch together. If you're in the back of the pack, maybe a little difficult to see.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that in a while, but yeah, this place certainly looks quite dry, especially now, and I'm seeing a lot of dirt being kicked up. If we pull a wide camera here, we can definitely see it from the lights just bouncing off of it.
Yeah, there you can see a little bit of that kick up. Now, like I said, that's going to be an impetus to get out front if you can. There we see Robbie Robinson trying on a little bit of a lower line, and Joe, out of Todd Liston. Big squirrely move off of the high line. That high line's really starting to get slicked in. That's going to make this heat race very, very interesting.
Oh, and also going to change so much more drastically. We've had a max of 5 cars at once out here, so we're quite literally tripling that. If we get plenty of green flag laps, that is. That's the other thing we haven't discussed yet, is we didn't have cautions in any of the previous races. So what are we going to do now, or what are the drivers going to do, rather, if we get things bunched back together partway through?
Well, that's where some of that reading the track can come in handy if you are in the lead pack. If you are in front and you're able to pick which line's going to give you the best bite off of the start, that's going to be a massive, massive boon to you. We saw Proudfoot setting the pace with that, running the high line early in the night. And guys struggling a little bit on the lower line. So if somebody knows something here and they get themselves out front, they may be able to press a little bit of an advantage based off of that with the yellow. And also, once again, you get into a good rhythm around here, a yellow is going to throw that off. So drivers are going to have to be wary of that.
Proudfoot finally on it, up into second on the timing sheets. So we watch some of our drivers continue to put laps down. Only a few seconds left, so warm-up is about over. Everybody set a time. Everybody is at least familiar with the track, but who has got the speed? That is the question we're about to settle with all 13 cars taking to the circuit in just a moment. Okay, the lights are on here Friday night in Ohio. Let's go through the starting order for our feature race. It'll be Brandon Proudfoot on the pole with Billy Northcutt starting in second. You've got Steven Spies in third with John Wilson. Another good set of races for him here in the lead-up, starting from fourth. Jason Best in P5 will be followed by Robbie Robinson in sixth and Bobby Hayes in seventh.
Joe Segal will be starting tonight off in 8th, followed by Justin Morton in 9th. And then your B main winner, Brendan Myers, he will be in 10th, followed by J.R. Shepard. Keep an eye on that 98. He may be able to move up through the field. In the last row, it'll be Todd Liston in 12th, followed by the 61 of Ryan Seneker in 13th.
As they take off, see, does Proudfoot once again try to put it on the high side and force Northcutt to start low? And will that pay off? As we watch from the blimp up above, they get 2 pace laps again, so this is going to carry on one more time through, and then they'll be released. And yes, indeed, DJ, he's taking the high side.
All right, and that is, I think, precipitated by, I was watching him during practice. He was running a low line and not getting nearly as much speed, so he still thinks that high line is the way to go. But pace car is about to jump off, and we're ready to go racing.
Pace truck is in, and Billy Northcutt does not get the jump on Proudfoot as the green flag waves into the first corner. 00 slots in behind him. That Spies down low. He is going to be able to maybe get up high if he wants to. No, he's going to continue to ride towards the middle of the track. A little bit of too wide behind them between Wilson and Best, as well as Robinson and Morton. So this hasn't settled out all that much here now that we're already into lap 2.
No, it really hasn't. And Steven Spies making that middle lane work better than anybody I've seen all night long. There he's able to get just a nose ahead when they come out of the corner, but this is a very late start-finish line, so that can play into effect as we get going along here. Oh, big kerfluffle in the back.
Looks like Hayes, Robinson involved in it. I think this starts with Robinson. Yeah. Robinson's going to hit the back of Best here, and then it was quite a chain reaction from there. Segala and Liston both getting a piece of it.
All right, so we're focusing here on Robbie Robinson. Yeah, that little touch to Best. Then that was Hayes getting into it, and you can just kind of see the domino effect of what happens when all of these guys come together. So a couple of laps down here, drivers are going to have to be careful. This track is slicking up more and more, and when that happens, it's harder and harder to control the car when you're running too wide.
So here's where it gets interesting. This is the first time this series is running with caution laps not counting. So if you don't see that number go up for now, that is why. We're waiting for the pace truck to turn the lights off. Actually, they are off already, but they're not doubled up. Are we going single file here? No, excuse me, they are on now. Now I can see them, they just weren't. Oh, no, they are doubled up, and it is a green flag. Helps if I get up to speed, as our drivers are now up to speed, and Spies once again challenging Billy Northcutt, but he's not quite there. It is a big mess behind him.
Yeah, there was some big bumping there on the start between John Wilson and Jason Best. That got a little hazy on that, but now everybody's starting to clear out ever so slightly. Again, Steven Spees running down to that low side, seeing what he can do.
Wilson having to fight off Morton and Best behind him. Quite a bit of action here up towards the sharp end of the field, but not with Proudfoot, who has been gapping those behind. Northcutt under attack, almost 4 wide there briefly, as some of those down low, the 75, one of them trying to find that shorter line, doesn't quite work out. Still side by side, and the 55 has been unable to complete the pass on the 0.
Yeah, he's not able to complete it, and now he's starting to fall back a little bit, but behind them you can see that 3 wide action you were talking about. That's Morton, Wilson, and Shepard all the way up there already, so he's starting to put some good moves on their Best, trying to make it in as well. And it looks like now that Wilson and Best try to go down to that low line, and indeed they are, but Morton gets a good power off. He's going to move himself up to 4th.
Things finally settling in. Ooh, Morton makes a little contact with the back of Spees. Oh, and 3 wide behind them. Wilson getting into Morton. They're going to go around, and Morton is backwards. There's the caution. Amazingly, nobody hits him. If we get an onboard from the 9, he is going to get an eyeful of the entire field just going either side of him.
So there you can see on board coming out of turn 2. Now he's going to dive down into turn 3 here. This is that contact. He's going to get ready for it to come on. Excuse me, now you're going to get ready to come on here as we go into turn 3. Tries to dive down low. There is the contact. And this is one of the most hair-raising moments as a driver. You just see all of those dirt cars coming towards you, and nobody gets into Morton. He is so lucky.
Fantastic heads up by all involved, I have to say. Oftentimes we see latecomers just not aware of what's happening and get involved in it. Now, the interesting thing is they don't have a lucky dog, from what I understand, because of the way they are doing the caution laps not counting here. We're already getting ready to start as we watch the onboard. Nope, it's been waved off. They check up again.
Yeah, so drivers here that just didn't like how that was setting up. They weren't able to get around in time. It's one of the quirks of dirt racing here on the iRacing service. Now the pace truck dives in. We're ready to go.
All right, let's take another go at this. Green flag is out. Proudfoot with a good jump. Northcutt behind him. Spees still likes that low side at the starts. And as much as he gets beside that 0, he just can't find the grip.
Yeah, I really can't get it working. Justin, J.R. Shepard also trying it as well, but that's going to allow for Wilson to get a little bit of a fight back. We're going to jump on board with Wilson here. There you can see just what that momentum carrying around the outside can do, but Shepard does a good job to get in front of him, lock down that 4th place position for now.
Wow, we said that JR's got some work to do, and he is making good on that. Really putting some elbow grease into it. Getting that 4th place. Can he get to the podium here today? The way that Steven Spees keeps riding that low line, I definitely think it's possible. Oh, and we had a big hit in the back. That was Morton going around for the 2nd time this race, but no caution.
Yeah, he got a little dominoed there. There was some contact in the back with Brendan Myers and Jason Best, I believe, but he's able to get back onto it. So we're going to jump back up to the lead here. Proudfoot continuing to dominate with Northcutt, Spees, and Shepard trying to chase.
And Spees has learned his lesson. He's given up on that bottom side. He's now up top. Oh, and a mistake in front of him from Billy Northcutt. He's going to try the low side once again.
Yeah, dives back to that middle line, but not able to carry the momentum there. He just can't get it working. He's going to have to try it again here, trying to go for a little bit of a slider, but it's just not coming to him whatsoever. He can't get any traction on that middle line. Now he's going to go a little bit lower, see if that works. Maybe do it, but the rear end of the car getting a little bit sideways, not able to carry as much as he wants.
You get glimpses of that yellow 22 in front of them, still leading the way, and by quite a margin. Down into 3 and 4. 55 not doing too bad with the bottom line this time, but I spoke too soon. And now once again he falls back.
Well, interestingly here, Joe, we're going to jump back though to this battle with Wilson and Best. This is currently the battle for 5th place.
Best definitely not looking his best with a lot of damage on the front. He's going to try the low line as well, and the noises I was making was in regards to Shepard clattering the outside wall himself. Still got half the race left to go, though.
Yeah, we keep our eyes focused on this battle. That's Best trying to dive down to the inside on John Wilson, able to get a good diamond off the corner there, but not quite enough to get the overlap. He's going to jump back up to a bit of medium line and try to run sort of, let's call it a reverse slider, going high to low. That's not going to work either. Just absolutely no grip on corner exit if you are anywhere but that high line.
Both drivers wanting a top 5 here today to boost those stats. But so far, John Wilson is the man that has it, and Best is the man that wants it. He gets a nose head briefly. He's certainly trying to go way down low. In fact, he may have caught one of those tires.
I think he actually ran over one of the tires, not even hitting tire to tire, just going over it the whole car. But he's definitely got a nose ahead here, got a little bit of an overlap, tries to slide back up on him. Best making that low line work to his advantage. He may have it if he can get the power here.
Wow, is it switching around now? Is the 47 found the grip that the top is losing with it being very slicked up? And yes, he does. Will we see everybody start to migrate to the bottom?
They might. I saw Brandon Proudfoot flirting with that lower line a little bit earlier, and rest assured, these guys are going to be looking down, but we're going to jump back up here. This is Spees trying to take a look at Northcutt.
He's caught up to the back of that red 00 once again, but he's not been able to overtake him despite his best tries. 2 quick cautions early on in this race. Oh, and he hits the outside wall. The 55 has to check up.
Does indeed, and there you saw it at the corner of your screen, Proudfoot going back down to that lower line, so hyper aware of what is going on around him. Speed's continuing to try on that high line to see what he can do, but it looks like Northcutt's got a little bit of an advantage running low here.
Yeah, I think we can solidly say that most of the field is now migrating to the bottom. Proudfoot, though, is going to have an extra complication because he's coming upon traffic in the final 15 laps.
Yeah, he is. That's going to get very difficult for him as they go along. But we'll have to see what he can do. You can see there on his onboard just how dusty this track is.
Now watching as he approaches, taking little glimpses off to the side, perhaps towards a mirror, just watching and seeing what those behind him are doing. How close are they?
Well, it looks like looking back in that low line for Speed's really not working. J.R. Shepard now starting to challenge him for that final podium position.
Shepard trying to run up top. He's got better momentum than the 55, but not a long enough straightaway quite yet. Coming to 30 to go pretty soon. This is for your final podium position. Steven Spees, and now it looks like Shepard going down about a lane or 2.
Yeah, he's starting to dive down there a little bit. These drivers are really trying to figure out where this grip is as this track just gets slicker and slicker and slicker.
This has been an interesting into it, though, with the way that it's kind of moved to the bottom, but not necessarily. Almost looks like, DJ, maybe the driver makes a bigger difference in it today.
Yeah, I think that's the case. You've just got to have a lot of guts and a lot of feel for the track.
Ooh, caution. I see, looks like Todd Liston, maybe? Not entirely sure. He's pulled into pit lane. I'm not seeing him hitting anything on my side. Ooh, and it's already out of shape here early in our replay.
Yeah, it looked like he dove down here into the pits, maybe picked up some damage. I think that must have been what triggered it. Obviously, the stewarding system here on iRacing is automated, so there are some weird things that can pick it up like that. But this is going to bring the field back together and give us a 9-lap fight to the end.
Yeah, I'm checking to see if there was any other incidents that may have caused this real quick, just to try and clarify. And yeah, I'm not entirely sure what has brought this out. Very strange circumstances that we're experiencing here today. Whatever the case, we are already heading back to green, and the 22 leads them single file into it as the 00 tries to duck down low but can't find anything. Now Shepard has really been brought in on speeds. Can he try and overtake?
He's certainly thinking about it, with the car getting a little bit loose off of the corner, so that's not going to help him. Northcutt continuing to run that middle ground line and making it work quite well, if I do say so myself. Definitely trying to press up to Proudfoot as much as possible. Runs very, very low here. He's not going to be able to get the crossover, as there's still just not enough grip for that 00.
Billy Northcutt trying to pressurize Proudfoot into a mistake. Not impossible, but tonight it's not looking likely the way he's been racing, trouncing the field in the classic style we got used to earlier on. Will the 22 pull a Vettel and just run this one from start to finish as Billy Northcutt continues to run low, and it's not quite working out. Ooh, a little look behind him. We could just see the 98 almost get by Spies.
Yeah, Speed's got a little bit squirrely coming out of turn 4, and that allowed for J.R. Shepard to have a bit of an opportunity, but he's back running the high line again. Here is Speed's able to cover that off well, keep the momentum going. I think if he is able to keep this mistake free, he will be okay. And Joe, to your point about Brandon Proudfoot making mistakes, the only time I can ever remember him making a mistake was this season at Lernerville, when he fell off a little bit on the backstretch.
And that was a shocker when we saw that. One of the craziest finishes we've had in this series. We're already at 2 to go. Nobody seems to have anything for Brandon Proudfoot, ready to seal up the championship with a victory. It's not the last race of the season, but it is the last lap to go now. And the 22 with multiple car lengths ahead of Billy Northcutt, with Steven Spies trying to fend off a charging J.R. Shepard for a podium, but it is going to be Brandon Proudfoot with another win and a championship here today at Limaland.
Billy Northcutt coming in behind him, with Steven Spies holding off J.R. Shepard to round out your podium. May not have been the most passing on track, Joe, but as always, Limaland, it never disappoints.
The skill had to come out today if you wanted a good finish here, and that's what it did for the 22. As he celebrates his back-to-back championships, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around. welcome back to Limiland Motorsports Park for the penultimate round of the Bootleg Racing League Dirt Street Stock Series. Brandon Proudfoot not only took the victory, but he clinched his championship today. Billy Northcutt was second behind him, about a second and a half back at the line, with Steven Spies in third. J.R. Shepard was just off the podium, starting from 11th in the feature, climbing up to fourth as Jason Best rounds out the top five. Sixth was John Wilson, with seventh going to Bobby Hayes, Justin Morton ninth, and Joe Segala eighth for Morton, ninth for Segala, and Robbie Robinson rounding out the top 10. Last one on the lead lap was Brennan Myers, with Todd Liston and Ryan Seneker DNFing today. Sadly, we have our winner ready to talk to us, Brandon Proudfoot. Brandon, congratulations. Back-to-back championships. That is a fantastic feat.
Wasn't easy this season.
It didn't look particularly easy, especially we even mentioned it during the race that or during the pre-race, that your stats kind of showed you weren't as dominant. Last time, I think it was 9 out of 11, I want to say. This time, this is only your 7th win with one more to go.
Yeah, there's a few guys like Billy and William, and really everybody here has improved. I'd like to say even that our caution count has been cut in half, and it's allowed us to do. We've been testing here, which you guys seen tonight, the caution laps not counting. A few seasons ago, there was no way we would be able to do the 1 hour time slot, even on nights like tonight where we got 40 laps here at Limiland. It really goes to show how much the league is growing and improving day by day.
We did notice partway through the race that the dominant high line very suddenly switched over. At what point did you kind of notice that the top was getting too slick?
It was kind of slick everywhere, but I think the main concern for all of us drivers, at least that have it turned on, was that dust. I don't know how it was for you guys on your end, but about right there before that last caution, I believe it was on around the 32 lap area. It was, might as well just chuck it in and hope to feel something, and that's how a lot of us were entering up top. The dust was getting pretty terrible, and I think some people just started to move down just because it was just too much of a risk factor to try and find that cushion. And then what you guys seen there in the heat races, that I believe it was J.R. Shepard that actually flipped up on the cushion. I think everybody kind of remembered that.
We were trying to figure out what happened there. Well, congratulations on not only another victory, but another championship. Who helped make them happen?
Fistful of bourbon. Winners get whiskey, baby. Got one more to go. General Tire, Polar Stars VR, Vision Wheel, Sans Racing Fabrication, Chris Leone Motorsport Drop, all the guys here that make the league go. You guys for doing the broadcast, and big shout out to Jim Beaver Esports, the team that I'm at, my home. Family downstairs, girlfriend that roots me on. Everybody makes it happen. Everybody.
Great stuff. Brandon Proudfoot, who gave us a really unique view today of his race. And up next, I believe DJ is caught up with Billy Northcutt, who finished second.
Well, Billy, it looked like the hardest part of this race was trying to read the track. There are multiple lines coming in at different times. Talk me through that.
Yeah, man, it was kind of interesting. I mean, a lot of times this track, you'll run that cushion up top in a race like this with the street stocks anyway, and you'll kind of just hang out there and hope that the guy in front of you makes a mistake. But I mean, this race, it was kind of treacherous up there. There was a couple of times, I'm usually pretty good about not wall riding or getting into the wall too terrible, but there was a couple times that I thought I was just going to blow the right side of the car off, so I moved down, and I was actually a little quicker and kind of found something in the middle where nobody else was running, but it just wasn't quite enough. And then the top kind of came back in at the end, but I didn't really want to just ride behind Brandon. I figured I'd just run all over the track and see if something came in again, and I'll take the second place.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly looked like it was one of those things. Now, I mean, do you prefer running tracks like this where you've got to kind of make those judgment calls, or do you like something a little bit more like Volusia that was just sort of fast all the way around, multiple lines to go by? Which way do you prefer to run it?
I mean, both have their own strengths when you're doing that. I mean, Volusia, sometimes in these street stocks, when the whole track gets slick, you get side by side racing like we did this season and last season there, and it almost turns into it's kind of almost similar to an asphalt race, honestly. But like when you get these tracks with Limiland, and this track seems to change more than most tracks on the game. But I kind of figured by the time the feature got there, it would be slick enough that it wouldn't change. But there wasn't as many cars in practice this time. I mean, I was late getting home from work, and I pulled into the pits with about 3 seconds to spare. And I was amazed that I even qualified as well as I did without even seeing what the track was like or anything. But I kind of prefer the races like this where it's more realistic if the track is unpredictable and you have to kind of search all over and it's dusty and you can't see and you're just kind of guessing. I kind of love that aspect of it.
Well, I mean, next week we head over to Charlotte, which tends to be a little bit more topside dominant. How do you like the chances there? How do you like it? And is it one you're looking forward to?
I mean, it's definitely one that I'm looking forward to. It drives, I mean, it drives almost kind of like this track. A lot of times in these races that the track doesn't reset, you end up running around the wall and you just have to try to stay off of it. I mean, you can kind of, if you ride the wall, you can almost pick up speed, but it's something that is extremely frowned upon. So you don't want to get into it very much. And it can also kind of spin you. They've updated that a little bit. So if you're able to run up there right by the wall and not get into it over and over again, then you're good. And if not, you have to go down and search kind of like you do at this track. And I think it'll be an exciting race. There's a little more room for sliders and stuff there. The last season, Williams' first race with this league was at the Charlotte race last year, I believe. Seems like anyway, and it was a dang good race up front with him and Brandon, and I was in third and just watched it, and it was a good race. So I expect more of the same.
Well, I know we're certainly looking forward to it. Billy, a well-deserved second place here tonight. Anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, definitely just thank my family for watching and supporting what I do. Thank all my Dirt Panda teammates. William was on a job today and wasn't able to get away for the race tonight, or I probably would have got third. So thanks to him for letting me have second today. Thanks to just everybody involved. I mean, I've had a really long couple of weeks here at work. I'm working 30, 40 hours of overtime a week, and to be able to come out here and have fun with these guys is literally everything.
Well, we love watching it, Billy. Congratulations once again. That was your second place finisher, Billy Northcutt. And now Joe Peak has caught up with an old face coming back in and getting a third place, Steven Spies.
Indeed. And Stephen, one thing that we noticed is you seem to be one of the few drivers that liked riding down towards the bottom a majority of the race. What was it that you found was better down there?
Honestly, visibility is what was better. I was really struggling there tonight, being Billy was kind of on the fast line, and you can't pass him running the same line, and with this dust that they evidently changed this week, I couldn't see, so I was making a ton of mistakes. I'd get up to him and then I'd hit the wall or mess something up because I wasn't quite on the line where I needed to be. So I honestly was just trying to go wherever he wasn't, so it was a little bit less dusty for me.
You almost lost out on the podium there at the end with J.R. Shepard applying a lot of pressure. Were you at all concerned about him back there?
No, I'm certainly not concerned. JR passes me. That's, I'm not ever going to feel bad about him passing me, especially on pavement, but dirt either, as these tracks slick up. JR's skill level from the pavement comes into play because you have to drive these things so straight and be so careful on the throttle. So, like I said, you never can be upset if JR passes you.
Yeah, that's an understandable take to have on it. But we're glad to have you back. Do you think we'll see a return with us at Charlotte?
If Charlotte's next week, I'm going to be out of town, but the time really doesn't work very well for me with this hour earlier than we were in previous seasons. So happened to be available and home tonight, so wanted to jump in and at least participate when I could. So, if I'm home and around and my schedule works, I'll jump in here. But no, unfortunately, I won't be able to be consistently.
Well, sometimes that happens, but we were glad to have you back and joining us tonight. Anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, thanks to Lowell and the BRL League for not punting me out, for not being able to participate for the majority of the season, so I can still pop in whenever I get a chance. And thanks to Epsilon Sprint Wraps. Anybody looking for wraps for any kind of a car, doesn't it says Sprint Wraps, but he'll do a paint for anything on iRacing for you. So go check that out. Best place to catch him on Facebook.
Awesome stuff. That was the number 55, Steven Spies, who finished third today. And that's going to wrap us up with a big thank you to the Bootleg Racing League for bringing us back for another season of coverage. But we also want to thank the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcasts listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. You can see the screen for her Bandcamp, where more of her work resides. And thanks to the team today, DJ, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Or check out our social media. We've got the outlets listed at the bottom of the screen. And if you'd like to support the channel, check out our merchandise store, simracingmerch.com/GSRC. We keep a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment, because the next race, as we mentioned in a week's time, comes the season finale, Charlotte Dirt, Friday, June 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.